Welcome back to Movies Explained. Today's film is a horror thriller from 2021 titled, The Deep House. The movie begins in the Ukrainian countryside, where a couple named Tina and Ben are vlogging. They're heading towards an abandoned sanatorium that is supposedly haunted. They fly a drone to get aerial shots of the building before entering it themselves. As they roam the halls, Ben says that the sanatorium was abandoned because a nurse had killed herself after poisoning 7 children in the 70s. They hear a loud noise before Tina loses sight of Ben. He eventually scares Tina out of the darkness before the video is cut off. 3 months later, Tina is laying in a bathtub, trying to train herself to hold her breath underwater for as long as she can. She's dissatisfied with her time but decides to head out of the room. Ben is waiting for her on top of their van, already recording on his camera. She lies about her breath-holding time when Ben asks her, as they're about to go scuba diving in a lake in southwest France. The couple hops into their van and drives through a scenic route towards their destination. They come to a halt in the middle of an old town because their GPS says they've arrived at the lake. Tina decides to ask a local for directions while Ben films the town, claiming that it is dying because so many houses are for sale. It seems that he has a vast knowledge of architecture and history as he explains to his future viewers about the houses. Tina returns to the van with the directions, and it turns out that what they thought to be a super secret spot is actually a very crowded lake. Ben ends up sitting on a bench while watching their recently uploaded video. He's disappointed with the number of viewers, telling Tina that he wants more. Nonetheless, she reminds him that the purpose of their channel is to encourage him to leave the library and visit the locations he has read about. Tina proposes that they enjoy the lake as tourists instead, so Ben heads off to buy them some wine. Tina notices Ben talking to a man. When Ben returns, he says the man told him there's nothing to explore beneath the lake because most of the houses were already ruined before they were flooded. However, the man offers to take them to a secluded part of the lake in the woods that supposedly has a perfectly preserved house at the bottom. Tina is reluctant but eventually agrees to take up the offer. Tina drives the van towards the forest with their guide, Pierre, sitting next to her. He begins by telling a story about how the village had suffered devastating floods 50 years ago, which prompted the construction of the artificial lake so they can control the flooding by voluntarily submerging the village. Pierre starts talking to Tina in French, and after Ben interjects, Pierre says they need to walk a couple of miles to get to their destination. So the three walk through the picturesque French forest with Tina and Ben carrying their diving equipment. They start filming again until they finally arrive at the lakeshore. As the couple prepares their gear and underwater drone, Pierre mumbles something in French but says it's just an old family motto. Tina and Ben are now ready to dive, and Pierre suggests a good spot to propose if they swim straight down the stairs. Once underwater, Tina checks their communication system by saying that Pierre creeps her out. They continue to swim while vlogging with the drone and mounted cameras on their heads. Soon enough, they find a submerged car before Ben tricks Tina by playing loud rock music on their audio system. The couple then finds the stairs that Pierre mentioned and decides to follow them deeper into the lake. They eventually find the house's gate and a private mausoleum in the garden area. Ben believes the previous owner must have been wealthy, and he is correct when they discover the submerged house is more akin to a large mansion. Their music is starting to sound strange as they swim towards the front door, so Tina tells Ben to turn it off. Unfortunately, the steel front door has been sealed shut, so they decide to split up to find another way in. As they look for an entrance, the couple wonders why they would shutter off a house that's going to be flooded. Ben finally finds an open window to the attic and sends his drone in first before they swim inside. The attic is surprisingly well preserved with many pieces of furniture and knickknacks still in it, to Tina's confusion. They check for their oxygen percentage and find that Tina's is slightly lower than Ben's, so he advises her to breathe slower. The couple swims out of the attic to continue exploring the house. It's too dark for them to see, so they send the drone ahead through the dark submerged hallway. Tina hears a voice she thinks is Ben as they examine the footage, but he says it must have been interference. Ben's sonar scan shows that there's nothing in the hallway, so the couple continues to swim. They see that the walls are filled with collections of guns and animal skulls, and a big painting of the homeowner's family, the Montagnacs. They enter an unlocked room that seems to be a child's bedroom. Tina wonders how the stuff in the house hasn't decayed after decades, as she sees a stack of vintage recording equipment. On the wall, many pictures of children are stabbed through antler horns. Suddenly, Ben sees a silhouette of a person behind the bed curtain, but Tina can't see it. Ben's light suddenly turns off when he approaches the bed, yet he finds nothing when he opens the curtain. The drone also starts to malfunction, but after rebooting it, the couple swims downstairs towards the front door. They see a lot of claw marks behind the outer steel door as if someone was trapped and tried to get out. Then, they hear the sound of a piano coming from the dining room. Worried it's another diver, Ben gets his knife out and investigates. The drone sensor picks up movement, but Ben sees nobody there. Shrugging it off as a creepy coincidence, the couple moves on to find missing children's posters framed and displayed on the wall. They now enter the kitchen where they find a huge statue of Jesus on the wall. Ben finds a door behind it, so the two pry the statue off the wall and open the door to the basement. With the drone leading their way, it's still too murky to see anything. The water clears up as they go deeper and they see two corpses hanging on chains from the ceiling. It freaks them out, especially since the corpses are wearing torture masks. Ben suspects that they were purposely hung to drown and thinks that the pentagram carved under their feet might indicate the reason. After finding a closet full of preserved body parts, Ben is sure that the homeowners were Satanists. They finally agree to leave the house, but when they reach the attic window, they find that it is blocked by a brick wall. Tina panics and thinks that the house is haunted while Ben tries to calm her breathing so she won't lose oxygen any quicker. They decide to try breaking the windows to no avail as Tina notices a fish swim by. She thinks there must be another way out, so she and Ben follow the fish towards the basement. It's still dark there, but Tina manages to find the opening that the fish used, though it's too small for them to pass. Suddenly, Tina hears a song playing through the audio system, although Ben says that he didn't put any music on. She then sees a well that leads outside right above the corpses, but it turns out to be grated. When Tina looks down, she notices that the corpse couple has disappeared. Ben is not answering her calls before she is attacked by something. A hook had pierced her leg and the drone suddenly emits a weird red light as Tina tries to get back to the grate. She keeps getting pulled down until Ben grabs her and asks what happened. Tina is upset because Ben didn't respond to her calls, but he claims he was right behind her looking for the fish before seeing her upside down near the bodies, which aren't missing. Trying to prove to Tina that the corpses are dead, Ben opens their masks only to discover that they're actually the Montagnacs. Suddenly, the couple sees the corpses opening their eyes and start moving towards them. The Montagnacs chase them as the couple swims frantically upstairs. They manage to close the door to the dining room right before the Montagnacs come in. Ben thinks that exiting through the chimney is their last resort, so he sends the drone ahead before tying Tina to himself so they don't get separated. Ben enters the chimney before Tina, but suddenly, the chimney collapses on them, causing them to get separated. Tina blacked out for a moment, then decides to cut the rope that is trapped in the chimney's rubble. She can't call for Ben, who is stuck in a locked bedroom upstairs while trying to reconnect their audio interface. In the bedroom, Ben sees the Montagnac family tree and discovers that Pierre is actually the son of the homeowners. He had intentionally led them to the haunted house. Then, he sees a corpse entering the room and decides to hide under the bed. However, the corpse turns out to be the Montagnac's daughter Sarah, who attacks Ben. Meanwhile, Tina makes her way towards the upstairs bedroom where he sees Ben standing still. She inquires how he is, and he appears to be fine. However, the manner in which he acts and speaks is unusual. He has been possessed by Sarah, and says that he and Tina will die in this house. Though Tina only has little oxygen left, she doesn't want to die there. She follows Ben, who says they're going to a safe place, revealing a hidden passage in the basement that leads to a private theater. The possessed Ben explains the Montagnac story while the film projector turns on and shows Tina the videos the Montagnacs made. Pierre and his father were Satanists that used to kidnap the village's children and offered them as sacrifices to the devil. Eventually, the villagers found out and raided the house, killing the innocent Sarah on her bed while Pierre managed to escape. They were also the ones who hung the older Montagnacs in the basement. Now, their spirit haunts the house, and Sarah's ghost suddenly shows up from behind the screen. Ben tells Tina that they now belong to the house and they can never escape. He persuades her to join him and the house to be a part of something bigger, but instead, Tina escapes through the hole in the screen. Ben follows her and says that he'd have to kill her to make her stay in the house. They fight, and after Tina stabs him, Ben snaps out of his possession. They are both running out of air, but right before they plan to escape through a passage above them, Sarah stabs Ben to death. The Montagnacs then band together to try to stop Tina from fleeing. Eventually, Tina detaches her oxygen tank and swims up, the Montagnacs seemingly letting her go. She tries her best to find a way out and emerges through the mausoleum. She keeps swimming up, but it's too late as she finally runs out of breath just a few meters below the surface. The movie ends with a credit scene that shows Pierre escorting 2 other divers towards the lake, planning to continue his sacrifices. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe for more videos.